Hi everyone, this is Kenneth Muyingo, the public relations officer for the Ugandan community here in the Netherlands. Greetings from my home here in Leiden. I greet you all on behalf of the leadership team of the Ugandan community in the Netherlands and the Career Advancement Network. Welcome to today's UCN Connects with the Career Advancement Network. And today we have a special guest, one of us within the community who's going to be having an interaction with us about technology and the opportunities that are available as far as that is concerned. But first, I just want to bring you greetings from the chair lady of the Ugandan community in the Netherlands and the entire executive team, and to congratulate those that have been able to achieve the success that they set out to achieve. We're already in the month of April, and to those that have not yet achieved the success that they were working towards, we sympathize with you and we take this opportunity to encourage you. Do not give up. Give yourself a chance to try again. And we are rooting for you and we wish you the very best of luck. Those that are not feeling well at the making of this broadcast or whenever they will hear it, we wish you lots of strength and a quick recovery. And above all, just remember that you are not alone. Reach out to community because together is always better. As our motto says, that our strength is in our unity. And with that said, I would like to bring in my host into the studio and then we can get started. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Kenneth.
Good evening.
Good evening to you too.
Thank you so much for making time out of your busy schedule to be available for this. On behalf of the Career Advancement Network and the Ugandan community in the Netherlands, we appreciate and we don't take it for granted.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I
Indeed.
appreciate the reach out and always happy to
Awesome.
engage.
And where you connecting from? Because I'm in Leiden, and maybe our viewers might want to know where in the Netherlands are you based?
I'm based in The Hague
Nice.
currently, yes.
Amazing. So The Hague, Leiden, and to our viewers, let us know where you're connecting from. Where are you watching this broadcast from? We would really appreciate engagement. If during the broadcast you have a question or a comment that you would like to share with us, please feel free to share. You on whatever platform you're watching us from, we'll be able to receive your comments and questions in the studio in real time, and we'll be able to engage with them. So with that said, I would like to just get into the meat and the potatoes, like I like to say it. Because this one I think is a really interesting one when we're talking about opportunities in tech and diversifying one's career, most especially in the times that we're living in right now. Can you maybe share with us briefly about your journey from Uganda and now working as a payments lead at Uber in the Netherlands?
Yeah, definitely. So I've always been a tech person. You know those people who just somehow know how to fix your phone, or you have trouble with your computer, and that's the sort of childhood I had
Yeah.
growing up. And so I obviously took interest in technology, and I decided to do computer science for my university at Makerere in Uganda, Kampala. I learned to make software, mobile apps, and those kind of things.
Yeah.
Even as a hobby, not just for work, but just even out of my own self-interest. And because of that, I got an opportunity, an internship at Microsoft. They had a remote office in Uganda, and they wanted to try to engage with more people, computer science students at the time. And that started a chain of events.
Yeah.
I found myself eventually going for a master's degree in Manchester in the UK. And from there, I looked for opportunities, not just in the UK, but in Europe. And I got lucky and found one with a company in the Netherlands after a couple of years. And yeah, that's really a very abridged version. And obviously, as we talk more,
Yeah,
I'll chime in a bit more on specific areas
indeed.
of journey. But that's really how I found myself here.
Awesome.
Mm.
Quite a journey. And you mentioned that you've always been like interested in technology.
Yeah.
Uh, it's one thing to be interested in tech, but it's one thing to be actually pursue a career in it. I remember when I was growing up, I was also very curious about mechanics. I was always fixing things. Some things I would break. I would try to open it. Remember one time I opened my mom's radio and I wasn't able to put it back. But what inspired you to pursue a career in technology, and how did you navigate the transition into payments and the fintech space?
Yeah, what you said is very, very valid. Having an interest is definitely very different from a career. My older brother did medicine, and
Yeah,
so when I was joining university, the expectation of my parents at the time was like, yeah, engineering, law.
yeah,
This is early, this is like 2008, 2009.
yeah,
So I put my foot down and I said, no, I want to do this weird thing called computer science. And our
yeah,
parents, the generation before us, were
yeah,
not too familiar with this. So they said, you want to be the guy that when the software has a problem,
yeah,
I go to him. He's somewhere in the office in the corner,
yeah,
and I had to explain it's a lot more than that. And
yeah,
I'm going to make software, and it was really a struggle to try and get traditional Ugandan parents who've come through traditional fields.
yeah,
My dad was also a doctor. My mom was in finance, accounting. So do this weird stuff, new
yeah,
stuff was a challenge, but I'm grateful that they listened to me and allowed me to pursue that. And even without the prospect of a job, because I didn't know people who were actually in Uganda doing this, like making software. I was just hoping that maybe I get a job as an IT manager,
yeah,
networking, that kind of stuff. It wasn't very clear, but I knew that I would not be happy in something else like
yeah,
civil engineering or whatever.
indeed.
So I don't know if they had also insisted. I'm not really sure what I would have done. Maybe I would have
Yeah,
just gone ahead and done it, done
yeah,
what they wanted me to do, and maybe eventually then branch out. But
yeah.
that's uh,
Wow.
navigate get converting it into a career that started a chain of events. Like I learned how to make apps, and I realized there was a market for that, and
Yeah,
I leaned in more and more into that, and found more and more opportunities
yeah.
down the line.
Wow. Quite a journey indeed. And looking back on your experience of moving from
Okay.
Uganda to the Netherlands,
Yes.
can you tell us about some of the major challenges that you faced when you were making that move professionally, and how did you adapt?
So because I did a master's in the UK,
Yeah,
for it was I was there for about 16 months at the University of Manchester.
yeah,
I wasn't coming to the Netherlands as a
yeah. From
fresh
Uganda.
fresh off the boat as something to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
afraid. I had experienced winter for the first time, so in many ways, the challenges I faced living in the UK prepared me for the Netherlands in a way. The weather, the
yeah,
food, the cultures are very similar in many respects. So there's some differences,
yeah.
but uh, it prepared me. But the big challenges, obviously, for me was always a culture, the people.
The
It's a
culture.
very, very big. It's a shock. No one really prepares you for that.
Yeah,
If you've lived in Uganda your whole life,
yeah.
things how you perceive people, how you relate with people, the way you assume that that's how everyone relates with
Exactly.
everyone around the world, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But only to get there and to realize, okay, this is a bit. different from what I expected. So the ease of making friends. I feel like in Uganda, I can go in a band, watching a football game, and whoever is there seated next to me, and we start talking about Man U, Arsenal.
Yeah.
And the next day, he's like, "Hey, by the way, we're going to watch Real Madrid. This
Are
place.
you coming?
Are
Yeah.
you coming, boss?
Yeah.
Where are you? You know."
Yeah.
So I came with that, that
Yeah.
expectation, with colleagues or people I
Yeah.
met in the UK and also eventually in the Netherlands. I to realize, no, actually, we can be friendly with you on the
Yeah.
surface, but I'm not going to invite you to my place. I'm not
Yeah.
going to call you after work for
Yeah.
this and that as
And then
easily as it would with a complete
home.
stranger at home. So for me, that was the biggest challenge, that interpersonal element. But
And
I navigated it, and
I really like how you share it. It's
yeah.
it's really a big one because we, in a lot of ways, are very communal people,
Yes.
and this part of the world is very individualistic.
Yes.
Everybody's minding their own business. It's
Yeah.
yeah. If you want to visit me, you have to make an appointment. I'm like, oh my goodness.
They are friends from high school and university. Those are their friends for life.
Yeah.
Usually. So if you were not with them at a formative stage or in college or university stage, it's very, very, very difficult if you don't
Get in
have
the circle. Yeah.
an in, either through a partner or it's really, really tough to get in. But there are ways. I'm also a stubborn person,
And then
so I insisted with some of them, and now we're good friends. So I
nice.
wouldn't say to the level of maybe other Dutch people, but the few that I have found some common ground with, I
Yeah.
would say have
Awesome.
built those networks. Yeah.
But that's absolutely amazing. And our viewers, whether you're watching us from YouTube or Facebook, you can let us know in the comment section where you're connecting from. Welcome to the broadcast. And if you have a question or a comment, please feel free to share it where you're watching from, and we'll receive it right here in the studio. We're talking about take opportunities and just diversifying careers. And we're with Paul, and just getting into the next part of the conversation, I want us to switch gears a bit and talk about opportunities in technology. With your experience, what do you think are the most emerging opportunities in tech right now, especially when we're talking about payments and fintech?
Yeah, before we get into payments, obviously, I'm sure the AI is the elephant in the room.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Everyone it's at least those of us in the field, or people with interest. It's really emerging very quickly. It's going very fast, and you're wondering what are things going to look like when our children are adults. These industries going to stay the same.
Yeah.
You needed to ask your lawyer to come up with a contract from scratch, but now you can go on ChatGPT and get a working draft, and you just edit a few things here and there, and it can maybe do the job, right? So I
in
think
seconds.
in seconds. So some people are threatened. Some people like me, maybe, who know a bit more of the industry, might be a bit excited. But I think AI is definitely one place you can take the approach of, what the hell is this? I don't want to do anything with it, or let's bury our heads in the sand and ignore it. But sooner or later, it's going to come and affect you in one way or the other. So I think definitely there's opportunities in AI, specifically in, I would say, building the components that AI relies on. So where is the ChatGPT getting all that legal information from? To be able to draft something like that for you, it has to come from somewhere, right? It has to come from it's getting all this knowledge from whatever is on the internet, Google,
Yeah.
whatever. So there's opportunities in these data sets. So
Yeah.
industries, or not really industries, but companies, places, people that have a lot of specialized knowledge
Yeah.
uh, have an opportunity to through AI. So and I think there's still some ways to go there. But if you know something that's really going to be of value in the future, or might be of value in an AI chatbot
Yeah.
interface, they would want at some point would want to connect to the data you have,
Yeah.
be able to serve people in the chatbot. So building the AIs itself, so there's programming, there's software engineering elements. But I think the gold mine data has always been the gold mine, and
Yeah.
now having this data, well prepared data, what do we call it, indexed data, I
Yeah.
think is a big opportunity. And because of AI, all of these these chatbots, these AI systems, they're running on energy. There are
Yeah.
data centers somewhere. They were saying that I saw a report that our current energy production globally might not support the the way AI is going. We'll have to build more, maybe nuclear reactors. So infrastructure in general, I think, because of AI, is also another emerging area in
Yeah.
and places like Africa. You need those technicians, those people, electricians, to set up this infrastructure.
Yeah.
Uh, and then as you go into fintech, obviously being an African, that's the area I know a lot
Yeah.
more about. As people, we move from cash to digital. There's obviously going to be more opportunities because of that in within fintech, banking,
Yeah.
payments, whatever you're making those apps, the customer
Yeah.
support, uh, financial inclusion. So if this your relative in the village who is a peasant now has mobile money and
Yeah.
wants to access a loan, but he
Yeah.
has no formal employment, so you can now look at his mobile money history and then say, okay, in the last 2 years you've received about 5 million, maybe.
Yeah.
So we are comfortable giving you this amount. So
Yeah.
building, having that underwriting knowledge, all of those skills will definitely come in handy in this fintech financial inclusion path
Yeah.
that Africa is on. Smartphones are becoming cheaper.
Yeah.
Network is becoming internet accessibility is growing at a very fast rate. You know about Starlink, this
Yeah.
Elon Musk's thing, you getting internet from space.
Yeah.
So and I know that I believe they're trying to get a license in Uganda now. So in theory, anywhere in Uganda, you might be able to have internet the speed of 4G.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether there is a cell tower in that area. So what does this do for people? They will be on social media. The smartphones from China are also already very cheap,
Yeah.
getting cheaper and cheaper. So there is a world in which everyone is going to be online. Everyone
Yeah.
will have a bank account or like a mobile money account of sorts, and that will open up what we see in Europe here, where people can get loans easily. They're
Yeah.
paying with the card and all of that. There's a whole industry around that. The machines that read the payment, the POS machine. So all of that is, at least from within my fintech area, those are opportunities
Yeah.
and areas where not just from a job perspective, but just even from a business entrepreneurial perspective.
Amazing. Good stuff. And I feel like Africa
Mm,
is a bit ahead when it comes to mobile money with
yes.
than Europe. Is it because like the banking system was not as widespread as it was in Europe, that they just skipped from cash straight to mobile money? And
Yeah, definitely. They call it I've forgotten the term of something to do with leapfrogging, because even before these guys in Europe went to optic fiber, they went through something called dial-up internet and copper wires. There were some kind of wires. Internet was going through a copper wire coming to your house. But we were so poor, so backward when those technologies were here. No one bothered to do that in our countries. And then when internet 4G became portable, you just needed to build a cell tower. We didn't have to go through building copper wires in everyone's house. We skipped that. We jumped it and went straight to 4G internet. So the same analogy applies to payments and fintech, where instead of everyone getting a Visa, MasterCard, VPay, Maestro card from your bank, we leapfrogged that.
Straight to mobile money.
We just went straight to mobile money. Now these guys are just beginning to have Apple Pay, Google Pay, which is like their version of mobile money. For us, we've had this thing for more than 15 years. So we are in that respect, we're ahead. When I tell my coworkers about it, they are shocked. They always think we are every indicator we're behind, but at least in this area,
we're ahead.
We're ahead. Sure. I can send money a lot easier to anyone in Uganda than someone here. Here, I need your bank account number, which you don't have off the top of your head. Most people don't. But Uganda, all I need is your phone number, which everyone has. So
amazing, indeed. It's in this aspect. I think Africa is ahead, but I think right there's a big opportunity. Yes. And just looking at professionals, or if somebody's watching us right now and they're interested in exploring opportunities as far as this is concerned, how can professionals from a non-traditional tech background be able to transition into the high growth tech opportunities or roles that are available?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. Even in high growth tech companies and opportunities or startups, there'll always be there is first of all always a traditional there are traditional roles there, like Uber, Microsoft, Google, or a random technology startup. You'll always need human resource managers. You always need accountants, finance people to manage CFOs. You will need legal. So there are those ever present universal traditional roles that will be needed regardless of the type of industry. So that's one avenue, like that's one way to get put your foot in the door. I'm looking out for accounting opportunities in big tech. I'm looking out for HR, legal opportunities in big tech. The other avenue is obviously some of these tech companies or organizations are focused in specific sectors. So like, for example, Uber is, we know Uber mostly about the taxi or ride hailing element. So normally when we go in a city and we want to start Uber operating there, some cities have taxi regulatory bodies. They're experts in that field, taxi fares and those kind of things. So people who were in the, like, I'll give an example, like in the New York yellow cab medallion taxi industry. In the traditional sense, the paper office desk licensing sense, we're natural targets to be attracted into, like a taxi tech company. So if there is a health startup that wants to digitize the process of having doctors online, finding your health records online, such a health startup will inevitably need doctors, nurses,
Yeah.
in its, whether in its leadership
Ecosystem. Yeah.
structure, but if it's an accounting software company, QuickBooks is a very well-known example. Of course, they must have had accountants somewhere to tell
Yeah.
the programmer, no,
Yeah.
this is how you put the double entry
Yeah. Yeah.
bookkeeping thing. So that's a second avenue. I usually tell people, like, look, if you are really like, don't be a lawyer and think I have to go study computer science again.
Yeah.
No, they are tech focused law firms, or you can also be a law firm and you say, no, let me learn about the industry, get into tech, but not necessarily changing your entire career or learning computer science.
Yeah.
But find those, let me go and be specialized as a lawyer for tech companies.
Yeah.
Let me understand how to make draft contracts. Whenever you sign up for a service online,
Yeah.
Facebook, what do you read that whole thing? You don't even read. You just click, I agree.
Then don't waste my time. I
No,
agree.
I agree. Someone has that's a lawyer has come up with that.
Yeah.
He or she understands how the
Yeah.
legal world mixes with the tech world. This software, cookies,
Yeah.
tracking things, and so I feel like that's a bridge. Like you bridge, and once you are in that environment, I have seen former lawyers, former finance people, former uh, HR people,
Yeah.
then become product managers or
Yeah.
product owners. Now they're in a real tech. They're working with the engineers. They're telling the engineers, no, when I see this interface, do this, add a button here, add a button here.
Yeah.
So but because they're already in the company, and they're now already they are friends and working with people, these product managers, software engineers, they now know the opportunities there, they know the challenges they face, and they see the open roles and say, you know what, let me try this, maybe I start at a lower level than I am at, but that's one that's I think the best path. And then of course, if you're still young and you realize that, no, actually my parents forced me in this law thing, I didn't want to do it,
Yeah.
you can do a master's, or you can decide to also just do another, take time and study and enter the field through the traditional courses, or
Indeed.
programming, computer science, or IT kind of training, and then or boot camps, and
Yeah.
then enter tech.
Awesome. I want to switch this up a bit and
Yeah.
look at our people back home.
Yes.
Young, vibrant, inspired brothers and sisters back home. Maybe someone is just graduating with their bachelor's from
Mm,
Makerere University,
mm,
and their dream based on what they see their future looking like. They don't have this desire of working in Uganda, and they
mm,
want to actually target opportunities abroad. I know there must be at least one or two who will watch this.
mm.
With what is happening right now with working remotely and global hiring, how can African tech talent leverage on opportunities in Europe and beyond?
Yeah, definitely with the global hiring post-pandemic world, a lot has changed. It used to always be, we have to hire you, bring you here,
Yeah.
uh, or you have to already be here,
Yeah.
and then that's when you get the opportunity. But now with the whole work from home thing, there is the remote angle, where you stay where you are,
Yeah.
in Uganda, if you have a stable internet connection and whatnot. And this is really like for a trial period, maybe the first year or whatever. So there are always remote opportunities. There has been a growth of remote, what are called remote first companies.
Yeah.
So these are like usually smaller tech companies that say, no, you know what, we have no office, we have no whatever, and all our employees are around the world and they are remote.
Yeah.
And then there are hybrid companies, obviously, as well, that have both small office and maybe some remote presence. So look out for those opportunities. That's the lowest barrier. The barrier to entry there is low. They don't need to sponsor you a visa or whatever. They just need to see that you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
And it's also easy for them to, in converse, it's easy for them to also let you go because, okay, we haven't flown you all the way here, so easier to let you go. But that's like putting your foot. I like the analogy of putting your foot in the door.
In the door, yeah.
And having that experience of, oh, I've worked for Deal, I've worked for this other tech company, a Western tech company, because unfortunately, when your experience is only with companies based in Uganda, it's not the best, the most convincing thing. Unfortunately, we can complain about it, or we can say no. Let me work through that challenge. So try to get those remote opportunities. I think that's the lowest barrier, because if you're coming out of college straight from university, it's unless you are exceptional, it's really unlike the chances of someone, let's go and like Microsoft grabbing you from Uganda and bringing you that outside are quite low. But finding those opportunities where you can still do your work in Uganda, and maybe 6 months, a year later, you are able to show them that you actually know what you're doing. I know personally people who have then they were recruited. They said, okay, you've been doing a good job. We now want you in the office. So like, I have a friend in Italy, I have a friend in the US, someone also in the Netherlands who they started out working remotely in tech within Uganda, and then their employers or companies related to their employers while were remote eventually brought them in, or like informed them, hey, there's this opening in our sister company. We think it would fit. Come in, and that building a network through those remote opportunities, knowing people, because a lot of the job, by the time a job is online, it has been looked at internally, and maybe they've decided no one wants this, or no one fits it. Let's put it outside. So a lot of things a lot of opportunities you will never see, because they're already earmarked for people inside these companies. So it's always important to build those relationships. And then the other thing is, just like myself, I built apps just out of pure interest and love of the field. So I made like unit converting app, just something that converts kilometers to meters, those simple conversions. But because I had that, when I was looking for software development jobs, I didn't have to, the barrier to believe me that I know what I do is much lower, because I said, look, there's this app on the App Store. It has you can see Paul Asiimwe there. I did it, So having that, some portfolio of work, of course, now with AI, it's easier for people to do it, but having something tangible, you can say, look, I do this, I've done this website, I've done this this app, I've contributed on this open source, whatever. You can see all my submissions there. That's like it makes someone know that, okay, you know what you're doing. And then the biggest one I already touched on is obviously the network. Having people within this field who are not just professional networks, but also personal relationships. You have a friend, an old colleague, old student, OB, OG, who is in these things. Having that relationship with them, and knowing that you have an interest in these things might also open up opportunities for you. Like how I got into Microsoft, the internship in Uganda. People didn't know that Microsoft even had. I didn't know it even had an office in Uganda. They just had like 5 people sitting somewhere in office in Outbox there on Makasero Road, I think. And it's one person there who knew me and knew that I made apps. And so when there was this internal internship that was there, I said, oh, I know a guy who makes apps. He's there at University at Makerere. So this guy, who was a family friend, reached out to me and said, hey, here you go. do you want it or not? Before we
Yeah.
posted, of course I want it. I took it. So I can't stress enough the relationship piece, because in I don't want to sound like I'm very old,
Yeah.
but I've been around, and I used to think, oh, as long as you know your stuff,
Yeah.
you will make it. It's the world is a meritocracy.
Yeah.
But I've come to learn that no, it's who you know. No,
Ex-
what you know is important, obviously, but
Yeah.
to the similar extent, I would say maybe 50-60% of it is who
Yeah.
you know and how you present yourself, how visible you are out there. Some people like to call this politics, but
Yeah.
it's very important.
Yeah.
Knowing people and having good relationships with them, for them
Yeah.
to then actually tap you on the shoulder and say, by the way, there is this. Or if you actually find something and you someone knows you on the panel, or you apply, they, you have people that can vouch for you
Yeah.
because they actually interacted with you, uh,
Exactly.
and they're able to put you out there. Because at the end of the day, bias is always there.
Yeah.
Uh, you can complain and bury your head in the sand and say the world is unfair. It's not fair.
Yeah.
The people always, but someone will look at you, the skin on your, the color of
Yeah.
your skin, and make judgments out of the blue. But
Exactly.
if you have someone in your corner
Who can vouch for you? Yeah.
who can vouch for you, then it goes a long way. It goes a
Indeed.
long way in getting.
Wow, this is good. And I really
Mm.
like that you talk about how important networking is, because I think sometimes we are afraid of putting ourselves out there,
Yeah.
if I could say it like that. But from your experience,
Mm.
what can you share, or what strategies do you recommend for someone who's watching us and they know they need to network, but they
Mm.
struggle in this area?
Yeah.
What strategies can you share to help them in building meaningful professional relationships?
Yeah, definitely. I think many people, even myself included, right, when someone would tell me, "Oh, go and network," I always viewed it as, "Oh, let me find someone like Kenneth and
Yeah.
tell him about my interests, and come up with small talk, and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and look from the professional lens."
Yeah.
But at least from my experience, has been try to build a personal relationship first.
Yeah.
Like, meet Kenneth and talk about other things. Talk about Uganda, for example.
Yeah.
I don't have to come to you and say, "Oh, how is your career going? How can I improve my career?" But like build a relationship.
Yeah.
Um, Build a relationship with the person first,
Indeed.
outside of work. People, even in the context of the Netherlands, where people may be a bit more closed, and what if you really insist and put in the effort, they will open up eventually. Like I have a lot of Dutch friends who if someone says, "Oh, I can't make it," but I'm like, "No, let me come to you. Let me come to your
Yeah.
city,"
Yeah.
and there they have no way to refuse, right? So
Exactly.
I'm like, "No, we'll just walk in the park. I'm going to be there anyway.
Yeah.
Let's just take a walk." And slowly, the defenses are loosened. Talk about other things that might
Yeah.
find common areas outside of work or
Yeah.
professional areas that might interest you. Maybe you never know. This guy might be a fellow Man U fan.
Yeah.
Maybe you both like action movies. Maybe like I found very interesting things you never know. Like I found out my man. I like there's this Swiss Army knives. I like
Yeah.
buying Swiss Army knives. I know all the brands and all
Yeah.
those things. I had no clue this guy, for 2 years being my manager, had the same interest. So one day
Wow.
he's opening his bag and this Swiss Army knife, a Leatherman, drops out, and I'm like, "Oh, you have a Leatherman?" And then he's like, "You know what this is?" I said,
Oh
"Yes."
my.
And then he said, "No, you should come home and check out my collection." And then
Wow.
we
The rest is
bond.
history, as they say.
The rest is history. So like, don't approach this from
Yeah.
"Oh, how can I build my career, Kenneth? I'm
Yeah.
interested in fintech. Where do you see the world going in fintech?" But no, I need to first understand what's Kenneth. How did Kenneth end up where he is?
Yeah.
people love to talk about themselves. They're like, oh no, I
Exactly.
did this, I moved from this country, I did that.
Yeah.
And they are disarmed a bit, and then they now, because they feel like maybe now you're a friend or whatever, they'll give you advice even if you haven't asked for it, you know.
Indeed.
And there's also people also, and this is usually common from like usually older people in Uganda. When a young
Yeah.
person approaches, most people have this perception, oh, they won't ask me for money, they won't ask me
Yeah.
for a job, but only to get shocked when you just say, no, sir, I just want I wanted to learn about your path. I'm
Yeah.
writing an article, or whatever. How did you end up where you are? Tell me your life story.
Yeah.
And you'll find someone else. So I recommend, like, these are all things I learned from like this book of Dale Carnegie, How to Make Friends and
Aha.
Network, which is very, very popular, and people
Yeah.
have beaten the horse with it. But every 2 years I go back and I reread it and just learn these interpersonal things to
Yeah.
really hammer the point home, because it's the interpersonal relationships that will take you further than being in a silo. You know your stuff, you know you are good at your stuff, and you're just hidden in the
Yeah.
basement
Yeah.
doing the work. That's not going to get you far. It will get you somewhere, definitely.
But not far.
Not far. It's actually, you're better off using contacts and networks.
Yeah.
And then once you are in that those spaces, now the
Yeah.
knowledge will back you up and
Indeed.
take you places. So
Indeed.
practically, of course, go for events,
Yeah.
go for even look for free events if money is a concern. But like they're
Yeah.
always, especially like in the Netherlands, and I think to an extent in Uganda more and more, there are more and more like opportunities, events,
Yeah.
or where you can just go and be with like-minded people. I
Yeah.
touched upon this earlier, but you likely have someone in your extended family or OG network that is in this in areas that you're interested in. So
Yeah.
rekindle those relationships and find out what's going on in the, let them from their perspective, and then when they know that you're interested in it, or your child is interested in it, then they will look out for you. They might, say, hey, there's this opening at Uber, try
Yeah.
it, let me refer you, try this one, try that one. And then once you've have that, once someone is in that place
Yeah.
looking out for you or having your footing, at least someone is a human being will look at your application,
Indeed.
not an AI that will
Yeah.
cancel you. But if someone has referred you, at
Yeah.
least someone will take a look and
Indeed. Good stuff. And then you reminded me of something, and thank you for mentioning that book,
mm,
How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's
yeah,
an amazing, amazing book. It's an amazing resource. And if you're watching us and you have not got hold of one of those, get yourself a copy and read it. It will be helpful even in your career development. You reminded me of something that someone once told me, that if you want to be the most interesting person in the room, be the most interested.
yes,
And and I like what you shared about just getting interested in people, just
yeah,
that they know you're not there to get anything from them, but you're actually just interested in what's going on in their life.
yeah,
And when people can sense that you're genuine,
yeah.
they'll people will do things for you. They'll open doors for you.
Open doors for you.
And then,
One of my neighbors is an elderly Dutch guy, and
yeah,
in fact, at first I had that attitude of, okay, I'll do me, you do
yeah,
you,
yeah,
as long as we don't disturb each other, we are
yeah,
all okay. But I was trying to learn Dutch more, and I said no, like I said no. Can I come have tea with you?
yeah,
And these people, older people in these countries, tend to be very lonely, right?
yeah,
So he had no objection. He said, "Yeah, sure, come. Try do my broken Dutch. He does
yeah,
his broken English. We go far, you
yeah,
know." But because of that, me reaching out to him and building that relationship. Now, like if there are things happening in the
hmm,
neighborhood that, of course, in me and my expert bubble,
yeah,
expatriate bubble, English speaking bubble, I may not even know what happened. Like I know there was a fire on my street, and I
yeah,
had no clue. There was some new regulation coming in that people have to change what pipes. I think
yeah,
asbestos pipes or something. and I had no clue. Of course, sometimes the letters come and you forget, or so he always keeps me like appraised. And so just imagine that from a professional lens, where if I had someone similar like that in maybe higher management in my company, it would definitely be of a lot more interest there, or
Most
investors.
definitely. Yeah. We have a question here from Edward. He says, "Do people just approach Microsoft, or at there are websites where such opportunities are aggregated?" I don't know, Edward. Maybe you might have to clarify. Do you mean in Uganda, or do you understand the question?
I think I understand the question. Yeah. Yes, there's a good website called, I think, remote.com.
Yeah.
Just for the remote opportunities that I mentioned earlier, remote.com.
Yeah.
They aggregate remote only jobs.
Yeah.
And a lot of these remote companies, even if you're based in Uganda, they'll still pay you US, UK based
Rates.
rates,
Yeah.
or not necessarily Ugandan rates. Some of them, of course, will adjust for whatever.
Yeah.
But also, specifically, if you're now targeting a specific company, obviously those websites do help you. Usually, if you just Google the word of the company, and then after that space put careers,
Yeah.
then the first thing on Google, the first result will be openings specific to that company. So whether it's Microsoft, Uber, Google, you will be able to find the careers website. There will be like a filter for which city you want, and then you can see the openings. And always look for these. And for remote workers,
Yeah.
yeah, remote.com is definitely one. And I'm sure if you type remote jobs, there are a few competitors now to remote.com that
Yeah.
have these aggregated opportunities. And from I think thinking like the average maybe Ugandan, you see the word Microsoft, you see the word Uber, Google, and you think you have no shot, or you feel some level of inferiority complex and
Yeah. Yeah.
whatnot. I just want to say, please rubbish all of that away, because having been in these spaces, I'm not exceptional. I am not whatever. I was average C student. I wasn't 4 in 4, 8 in 8. What? I was just bang in the middle student. I reached there and I realized that there's nothing special, really. A lot of these people, you are like myself, were in the right place at the right time
Yeah.
and got these opportunities, or knew someone, or born in the right country, I guess, is also one. And I had an inferiority complex as well. I would be afraid to say certain things because I thought, well, what do I know? I'm from Uganda,
Yeah.
what how can I challenge them? But actually, when I then brought something up in private,
Yeah.
I realized that actually what I would have challenged them in was actually a very good point. You realize that they're all human beings. We're all they are no. You're not. It's not. You're not that you're not smart or whatever. They're all average in there. Of course, there's some filtering a little bit from the average company, but still, I want to make the point that these are not all geniuses or exceptional people that make it in these these organizations. And I have seen people, and I even ask myself, how did this guy even enter this company? Like
Right.
I said, really, people are looking for jobs here, and I'm working with someone like this, and so that what's the word? There's a phrase when you are in a not an inferiority complex, but when you were in a role that's high and you feel like you're not supposed to be here.
Imposter syndrome.
Yes, imposter syndrome. Yes, I had a bit of that, and only as years have gone by, I realized that no, actually, there's nothing exceptional happening here or with these people. They are very similar stories like me. and others. So it's really the increase your surface area of work by putting yourself out there, keep applying, keep whatever, learn the language if you need to learn the language, of course,
Yeah, very
uh,
important.
and get in there. The more you, even if you if you apply 1,000 times, your chances always go up higher by 1,000. If you don't do anything because you are like, me, they will see Asiimwe and say,
Yeah,
what is that?
yeah,
And reject me,
indeed,
then you will not. Obviously, you if you don't do, you don't get any shot, you don't take, or something like
indeed,
that.
indeed, indeed. Wow, this is absolutely amazing. Ezra said this is an encouraging point of view, and I agree with you, Ezra. Thank you so much. And indeed, we miss 100% of the opportunities we don't take.
That's the word. Yes.
And I really like what you're sharing, because sometimes, because of where we come from and what we have been through, we're so quick to disqualify ourselves.
Yeah.
So if anybody is watching us and this is something you've been struggling with, take this as your word. Let others disqualify you, but don't do that to yourself.
Yes.
You have already been through so much to be the person that you are. And the truth is that there's only one you. And if they don't get you, they miss everything that you have to offer. So be encouraged, and thank you so much for sharing this, Paul. I really appreciate. And moving on, what advice would you give to someone who wants to pivot into tech but feels like they lack the right degree or the lack the right experience? Maybe with because of the changes with what's happening with AI, and maybe their job is not secure, and they're like, I want to pivot into tech,
Mhm.
but I don't have the degree, I don't have the experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to usually challenge the why. I like to ask why. Why are you in anything? Whether you decide this year, let me get healthy.
Yeah,
This year, let me eat, lose weight. The very important thing is why. Why are you doing it? Because having that clarity on why you're doing something will help carry you through the roadblocks, and there will be many
yeah,
roadblocks. There will be many. So if you're going to want to pivot your career and you haven't written it down somewhere, why am I doing this,
yeah.
XYZ, then when you hit the first stumbling block, you're going to give up.
Just run
You
away.
will not run away, you go back to your old thing,
Yeah,
and then so really get clear on the why, and it's fine. Like, let's say you see there's more money here. Yes, that's a very important thing. Don't
yeah,
stop at get more money, but like,
yeah,
why do you want more money?
yeah,
Do you want to be able to help yourself, help someone, or like make your situation secure, pay off some debts,
yeah,
experience life better? Be clear on that, because that will help visualize it in your head. I used to also like set goals and just do things without
yeah,
actually being clear. Like, said, I want to become healthy, and I'll just write at the beginning of the day, I want to be healthy.
yeah,
I want to eat clean. I want to exercise more. But then I didn't see why. I didn't write why. And then when I write down that, no, I want to be able to run after my children.
yeah,
I want to be able to carry. I want to be able to walk when I'm 70,
yeah,
and run around. Like now, when I visualize that, then when I'm in the gym
yeah,
and I want to give up, and I
yeah.
just visualize that, oh no, if you give up today,
Go harder.
you go harder, you will start
Yeah,
again. So be clear on the why when you want to change, and then once you've done that, I think there are things which we've already been talking about, right?
yeah,
The relationships are important. Reach out to people, because don't just go on the internet and Google, how do I
yeah,
enter this field?
yeah,
You will get a lot of things that may apply to maybe a white person in the
yeah,
US or somewhere.
yeah,
So first reach out to people like you,
Yeah.
whether they're Ugandans, whether they're your age mates, people. And I like the example of like, look back in your people you went to school with,
Yeah.
people you went to masters with relatives. There might be someone somewhere there. So and so's son, so and so's daughter is in that sector. Let me
Yeah.
reach out,
Yeah.
because such person who already knows you will not bullshit you. They will not. I don't know if I can say that one, but
It's all right. It's
yeah,
all right.
they will not give you a flashy
Wrong
answer.
information. Yeah.
You'll run into someone on the street and say, "Hey, I see you are in this thing. How do you do that?" And they want to to move on, and they'll
Yeah.
just give you, yeah, apply for jobs,
Yeah.
go for networking, all
Yeah.
valid things, but they will not
Yeah.
go in the deep
Yeah.
thing. But when it's someone that knows you, they will
Invested in you.
they'll have a bit more, they'll invest a bit more of that knowledge or effort
Yeah.
in you. So someone, if it's like someone, an old friend, relative, they'll say, oh no, let's grab a coffee, let's talk
Yeah.
deeper about it. Okay, you are an accountant. um let's look at QuickBooks. I know a
Yeah.
company called QuickBooks that's in that area. They are the intersection of finance, accounting, and tech. So it's a
Yeah.
natural bridge for you. I know
Yeah.
someone actually who works there. Let me
Yeah.
reach out to them and ask them to refer you. There's an opening here, you
Yeah.
know. And then that's the one path I had touched upon earlier. Then if you're still obviously like young, like now I know someone who recently moved here and was asking about, hey, I want my this person to get into tech. How can I help them? And instead of going to start a whole course, really drop their course and go to university again for 3 years to do computer science, and then when in this changing world of AI, you don't know what you learn is will be relevant. Like, no, let them do like a 6 month boot camp
Yeah.
or 3 month course. Let them first see if they like it
Yeah.
in this short course. If
Yeah.
it's interesting, then they can take long. Don't make huge investments or decisions on a whim.
Yeah.
Like they're now going to sign up for a 2 year course or something,
Yeah.
and then
And you don't even know if you like it.
don't even know if you like it. 1 month, one semester has gone down. You've paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
You don't like it. But if you have done like a quick course, and then actually the things are connecting,
Yeah.
things are moving, then you can now dig in deeper and
Yeah.
then enter. Then, like as I said, like in the world of AI, that's changing a lot. I think the fundamentals are still there.
Yeah.
That like in the 50s and 60s, the people who could make software were very, very specialized. You needed to know how to write the ones and the zeros in
Yeah.
a certain order.
Yeah.
Then there was something called programming languages that came. So
Uh-huh.
I can now write in my own words
Yeah.
in this language. This programming language you could convert to the ones and zeros that the computer understands.
Yeah.
So now it's just AI is another simplifier.
Yeah.
So someone who wants to make software, AI is going to help them make
Yeah.
software. But now someone who already knows how to make software, the AI will help them make even more at a much faster, more productive scale. So it's a force multiplier. I
Yeah.
think people shouldn't, if you're in this industry of technology, you shouldn't be afraid of it. You
Yeah.
need to learn how to use it to your
Yeah.
advantage, because there'll come a time where it will be uh, instead of hiring more X,
Yeah.
let's hire one person
Yeah.
who knows how to use AI,
Yeah.
so that his or her output
Yeah.
is equal to if I hired 5 people.
Exactly.
Yeah. So leverage it. Don't hide from it. Play around with these chat GPT things, whatever. Ask it questions,
Yeah.
and if you're also interested in the field, there are lots of uh, short courses on Udemy, on AI, which they can at least give you the fundamental under what's happening in the background, and then advise you on where in that ecosystem you want to narrow down on.
Yeah.
And when you identify it, move forward. Because tech is very wide. Tech is very wide.
Yeah.
Very many areas people just see tech and think is what there's networking, there's software development, product management. Me,
Mm.
I'm specific in a tiny corner there, just product program management. But I started in programming itself, then I moved into but I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, you have, and thank you so very much. Indeed, it's let's shift it up a bit and
Yeah.
talk about your working
Mm.
at Uber and the future of payments.
Yeah.
Um, you are a payments lead at Uber.
Yes. Yes.
What does a payments lead do? Maybe someone is listening and they're like,
Mm.
and what skills are most critical for you to be able to succeed in your role as a payments lead?
Yeah. So payments lead is it's a fancy word. It's a fancy way of saying project manager.
Yeah,
Yeah. So if someone asks me what I do, I lead several initiatives or projects
yeah,
that are towards a specific goal within our payments domain.
yeah,
So when you order an Uber and you pay with your card, and the driver gets paid on their bank account. I
yeah,
work in a team that manages all of that process. So making sure the drivers are paid and making sure that when you pay in the payment method of your choice,
yeah,
you're able to get that money and then eventually send it to the driver. So there are a lot of projects,
yeah,
initiatives in that area. So when Uber is opening in a new country,
yeah,
we identify, okay, what are the payment methods in this country? What do people like? How does me as someone who is ordering Uber, how do I want to pay? Is it mobile money? Is it a card? Is it ideal?
yeah,
And then if I'm a driver, how do I want to get paid? Is it a bank account or some other random thing? So the projects around that, and I lead a specific section. Uber is obviously a very huge company. I don't lead all payments,
yeah,
but specifically things to do with making sure we are able to pay the drivers in
yeah,
multiple ways.
yeah.
I manage that. So like specifically like in Africa, I recently finished some projects to help drivers get paid on mobile money
Yeah,
instead of bank accounts. So
that's
that's
wicked.
what I do. Yeah, so it's that I lead those initiatives basically in that area.
Amazing.
And the what it takes to succeed in this role is what I like to call interpersonal relationships and skills,
Hmm.
because my team obviously they know what I'm doing is important. They know why this project is important. They know why a driver in Ivory Coast does not want to get paid on bank account. He
Yeah,
wants to get paid on mobile money. They
yeah,
know that legal may not know,
yeah,
tax may not know,
yeah,
treasury, the guys who manage our money, may not
yeah.
know. They'll say, "Why are you sending this money? What is orange money? What is
Eh,
MTN money?
what is Momo?
What is Momo? Can we trust these organizations? What is
Yeah,
MTN? For us,
yeah.
they are huge, important companies,
For
but
them, it's strange.
average person is going to be like, what?
Yeah,
We pay him on his bank account.
yeah,
And I'm like, no, the Ugandans don't have bank accounts. Not
yeah.
everyone has a bank account. Why should
Exactly.
I be paying 5,000 per month on bank charges?
Yeah,
You know, they don't know that context. So being able to go to these different teams and really convince them to prioritize, because they have their own priorities, they have their own projects, they have their own things. So to
yeah,
get them to give time for your thing,
yeah.
it's called cross-functional leadership.
Indeed.
Of course, it's all one company. The goals are ultimately beneficial for everyone, but they
Yeah,
also have their own goals within their own domain. So that interpersonal relationship, prioritization, project management, showing them why it's important for not only your team but
yeah,
also their team
yeah,
are areas that are very important and things that I used to take for granted.
yeah,
And then the other 50% is the actual technical knowledge. Like I know how payments work. I know
yeah,
how payments in the Africa, Middle East,
yeah,
Europe region work. So then I'm able to explain to them, oh, this is how we do it. Let's work with this company. Let's work with Flutterwave. Let's work with Airtel, Momo. Let's build a relationship partnership there. So that's where, like, now that this other element comes in. But if I just had all that technical knowledge, but I can't express myself, I can't ask, I can't talk to the treasury person on coffee, or I can't have lunch with them and just have a random chat. I can't stand up with a good posture and project myself, my voice. Then all this knowledge will be useless. It would not do much impact. So it's a marriage of the two, I think, interpersonal project management leadership, and then the actual technical thing.
And then, wow. I mean, right here, I just want to acknowledge you for the journey that you've been on and the work that you've done to be the person that you are right now. And earlier we were talking about someone who is behind, like coming after us, and they're looking for someone to look up to. Maybe when you were starting out and having to explore the path that you're on, you didn't have many examples of people like you ahead of you. But by the fact that you have done the work and you are doing it right now, the generation that is coming after us has you to look up to, and first to know that, hey, he's right there. Paul is doing it. And he actually looks like me. He has a name that looks like mine. It's not like Van de Vries or Van de Boom or Van Dijk. So if he can do it, I can do it. And so thank you for doing that. And I think this is part of what the Career Advancement Network is doing, to create the space and show that, hey, it's possible. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you are a parent and you're watching this and you have a child who is thinking about exploring some of these opportunities, there's space within the Career Advancement Network for mentorship, for support, for conversation, for guidance, for coaching. And I think it's important that we give credit where it is due, and I just want to acknowledge you for this. So thank you so much. Good on you. And moving on, as far as what we were talking about is concerned, payments. How is Uber and maybe the broader tech industry innovating in payments, and what trends should we watch out for if somebody is watching and they're interested in hearing about?
Definitely. I would say there's a trend of in the Western world, there is a very big expectation or assumption that their payment methods are going to be the standard, right? Paying with your Visa, your card. What we are seeing, at least at Uber and in other companies, the non-traditional payment methods. So we like to do, the industry term is alternative payment methods, and I don't like that term because for me it's the standard one. It's not alternative. For me, mobile money is the main one. Visa is the bucket. But these alternative payment methods in different countries are emerging. So, like in China, you have your Alipay, WeChat Pay. The Netherlands, of course, everyone knows Ideal. Belgium, there's this thing called Bank Contact. Germany has a weird relationship with PayPal and Gyro or whatever. So every country has their own unique payment methods. And so with these American companies like Uber, when they go in a country, they expect everyone has use your card. But people have their own other things. So, and now what's happening is some of America and the UK, some of these, what we would say like the ideals, the equivalents of ideals, are now beginning to take over. So in the UK, you can pay by bank, the thing called pay by bank. In the US also, sometimes you can pay directly with your bank. Like you
Yeah.
online, you log into your bank and then you click here, click there, the payment has gone through, not through the card.
Yeah.
So those are emerging trends, and for Africa specifically, that's the mobile money. Is obviously mobile money. You can't do anything without that now in much of Africa.
Yeah.
Things like buy now, pay later.
Yeah.
So Klarna, those which are also emerging, and then the cryptos,
Yeah.
central the bitcoins and whatnot. Those also emerging payment methods. And so how Uber is doing, what Uber is doing about it, of course, is to incorporate as many payment methods as possible. What's relevant in that specific geography? It's no longer about coming with this American mindset that everyone has a bank account, everyone has
Yeah.
a card.
Yeah.
And it's through people like me,
Yeah.
with coming from these countries, coming from India, coming from China, we're educating these Western companies and saying, no, the reason the driver is not accepting customers who want to pay with the card
Yeah.
is because he does not have a bank account. He wants you to pay
Exactly.
him in cash so that
Yeah.
he can go with something to eat that evening.
Yeah.
Don't assume that it's in
That
the
because
US.
you have a bank account, everybody has a
One
bank
has a
account.
bank account. No, and for him, that money he's getting from you in cash, he's going to put in gas,
Yeah.
fuel for the next customer.
Exactly.
So we have to pay him on mobile money now. After the shift,
Exactly.
then he'll use that mobile money to get the fuel.
Well.
So that's now like touching upon the diversity element, which
Indeed.
I
Indeed.
thought, yeah.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. And when you you hinted a bit on the diversity, and I think that's really good with regards to bringing us into our next point. What can companies do better to support and integrate diverse talent in the global tech ecosystem?
Yeah, I would say, usually, some of information we have is we take it for granted. We assume everyone knows what you know, everyone knows the experience you have been through.
Yeah.
So I always thought that people in Europe know that Ugandans cannot just jump on a plane and fly in the country.
Yeah.
That no, you can't. That you can. That's how hard it is to get a visa.
Yeah.
So pre-pandemic,
Yeah.
the first company I worked for in Netherlands, payment company called ADN.
Yeah.
When I joined it, I learned that their recruitment process, the first stage was in-person visit. You have to visit them in person,
Yeah.
whatever. And obviously, for people who are applying around Europe,
Yeah.
that's very easy. You could come to Amsterdam. They
Yeah.
could pay for you one night at a hotel. You come and have that in-person interview session. But people would apply from Nigeria, people would apply from Uganda, Kenya, wherever. And then these guys were like, oh, you can't come?
Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And I said, but have you asked them why they can't come? Like,
Yeah.
they're willing to pay for the flight, they're willing to whatever, but they actually did not know that you
There are
have to
loops
support
that you
these
have to
people
jump
in the visa process. So I was part of a group that helped change that policy and say,
Wow.
no, we're going to bring these people, pay for the visa.
Yeah.
Actually, write a note for the embassy
Exactly.
so that the embassy can give these people the visa.
Yeah.
They come for the interview. If you're willing to sponsor, pay for a tourist visa to whatever.
Yeah.
So having, I think that recruitment process, there's that unknown. They have to work on understanding that, okay, if you want people from specific countries, specific regions, understand what are the barriers there, and then when people apply, you have ways to mitigate those barriers. The other thing is the communities. So like that ADN company I worked for, I started an African employee community. I
Yeah.
got a Nigerian, an Ethiopian, and I think Ghanaian were four Black Africans,
Yeah.
and we started a small once a month we have lunch together.
Wow.
And when someone from Rwanda was recruited,
Yeah.
they told him, "Hey, by the way, there's this Africans at ADN
Yeah.
Group." They grabbed me and said, "Hey, we have recruited this guy. Do you want to show him around?"
Wow.
So because the Rwandan,
Yeah.
Uganda, very close, and we have very similar perspectives.
Yeah.
So I was able to, translate a lot of European or help him navigate
The
things.
complexities. Yeah.
Complexities like now, no, you have to first get a BSN here. No,
Yeah.
don't sleep in a hotel. You come
Yeah.
and crash on my couch for a few days and eat that money
Yeah.
of that relocation money as opposed to
Relocation money. Yeah.
you know in
Yeah.
like that context having
And
that so those communities, I think companies should work on the recruitment, remove the recruitment barriers, and then once someone they've brought someone, let them link them to similar people to help them settle in easily, and then it ultimately works out to the benefit of the company, because if the employee settles in faster, you've
yeah.
shown him where to find local food, you've
Yeah.
shown him her where the local church is,
Yeah.
then the employee will
They're
settle
going
down,
to be more productive quicker.
will be more productive quicker,
Yeah.
and not be as homesick as if they were just there all by themselves,
Yeah.
looking for people to meet up with. So I think
Indeed.
those would be the two things.
Awesome. This is
Yeah.
good. This is good. Wow. And looking at young Africans, maybe they're already here, or maybe they're still at home and they are going to
Mhm.
come. Anyway, any advice that you can give to a young Ugandan or Nigerian or Ghanaian who is looking to build a global career in tech?
Yeah. I would say get building. Start building now. Building, whether it's a app, a software,
Yeah.
a, 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 a chatbot, whatever it is, whatever your interest is in,
Build.
the thing that you can do for free for
Yeah.
yourself out of pure interest and joy, do it
Yeah.
if it touches on that. Because ultimately, you'll learn, because when you're building those things, you'll run into challenges and you'll have to solve them. You'll have to reach out online communities, get questions and answers. Then
Yeah.
once you have something tangible,
Yeah.
whether you build it out of pure joy, even if it doesn't get you any money,
Yeah.
fine. You are happy. You are proud of it. Hey, look, I built this app.
I built this app. Yeah.
Showing it to someone like me, I would be like, yo, that's
Yeah.
amazing. My mom
Indeed.
may be like, what is that? But
Yeah.
me, I will be like, yo, that's amazing.
Well done. Yeah.
Keep it up.
Indeed.
Then when you apply for a job, you can show them that. Or you never know, whatever you've built, maybe it's solving a problem for someone.
Exactly.
Some people start companies. There's this company called Molly,
Yeah.
started by this Dutch billionaire called Adrian Mol,
Yeah.
MOL, a payment company. He
Yeah.
started like that. He was building simple messaging apps,
Yeah.
payment apps,
Yeah.
and then it was actually solving a problem for someone, and he built a company out of it and is very wealthy. So there's two angles. Those are the two angles for building. Like build it out of pure joy. It will be a part of your portfolio to help you get employment, or it may actually help you solve a problem and maybe start a company, and maybe you can become the next Mark Zuckerberg or the next Google. And
Yeah.
then other advice I wish someone told me
Mhm.
when I started my career was, once you start working, obviously in a company, be visible. Don't just be there hidden. You're working on your projects. You are
Yeah.
content. You are happy. No, you have to be visible. Like work. Try to work on things, projects, or things that the company cares about. That leadership cares about.
Yeah.
Because when time comes, whenever hard times could hit the company and they want to lay off people,
Yeah.
then they're going to look at, okay, these projects of ours, we need to reduce the staff by 25%.
Yeah.
the people who are working on this project, hey, that one was just a side project. All of them.
Yeah.
People like you've seen layoffs in Google, Microsoft. People are working on random projects. Google something for autonomous vehicles. Buy.
Yeah.
Buy. But then now people who are working in this thing called AI that was small, now they are putting all the
So you should give them a raise.
They are giving them raises because they now fear that they'll be poached from the other guy. So
Exactly.
find out, and it's usually very easy. Find out from your company what are the top priorities. What are the things, products, services, or whatever that make them the most money, and try to maneuver your way into those things. Because when you are there and you're working them, that job security very good. And if you solve problems within those areas, then naturally leadership will get to know you. Directors, they'll get to know this person. Hey, this is the guy who fixes that problem. Hey, this is the guy. Hey, now like for me, they're like, hey, any problem with Africa payments? Paul. Go to Paul. People from US, people from
everyone is looking for Paul.
They know that the wallet payments guy. People from deep in South America offices of ours, they're reaching out to me and saying, we want to pay our drivers on this their mobile money called You did it in Kenya. You did it in Kenya. You did it here. So but that was a big problem for me. It was a big problem that Uber was having in these African countries. So make sure you get what is visibility. The people who are most visible get the promotions.
Exactly.
The people who work hard and stay quiet in the corner. And our culture, unfortunately, it for good reasons, obviously, it likes to tell us, be humble, respect your elders, don't rock the boat, don't have lugezi, which is translates
don't blow your own horn, don't
blow your own horn. But conversely, what I see in the field, in the career, is that some people are getting promoted again and again, and I'm like, but this guy doesn't do anything.
Doesn't even know what he's doing. He just knows how to blow his own trumpet.
He knows how to go out. He knows how to talk. He knows how to dress very well and say the right things to the CEO and gets promoted. Then comes back and tells me, "Hey, CEO has told us to do this and this and this. Can you do it?" And
wow!
You will do it because it's
now exactly. Now he has an order from the CEO.
So, position yourself. Have the knowledge, very good. But then find out. You guys are you making me work on the funny projects, side things, or the important things, and work your way into the important things. So that when they are now presenting successes, like, oh, we've achieved profitability of XYZ, and it's because of these people, your name is there. So that when they're looking for people to promote, your name is there. If they're looking to cut down the staff, fire people, your name is not there. Your name is on the other list of these are the core people. These ones, if we lose them, whatever. And then when you decide to leave that company, they'll offer you more money. They will say, why are you going away? Please stay. Can we increase your salary to this? Okay, we'll give you this promotion. Like when I was leaving my old company, coming to Uber, So like I think for me that advice is once you've put your foot in the door, once you've started, find your way and work in the things that are the most important. Achieve the goals for your company. Ask your manager, ask their manager, what is the biggest thing we need to do? What's the most important goal for us as a team? And then work on that thing with all your effort. And then that's the way to go.
Awesome. This is good advice. Thank you so very much for sharing this. And looking at your inspirations as we're just bringing this in for landing, I mean, just somebody may be wondering, and they're like, who or what has been your biggest inspiration in your career?
Yeah. Of course, two things. Us who are in this tech industry, you see people like the Mark Zuckerbergs, the Elon Musks.
Yeah,
You naturally get inspired by them. You get I now call it a false hope for
yeah,
Africans, but it's seeing what those people achieved
yeah,
was very inspiring for me when I was now in college, university,
yeah,
seeing that this random guy, Bill Gates, just
yeah,
played around a geek,
yeah,
not the coolest kid, not
yeah,
the but played around with these computers and
yeah,
he's very wealthy, very rich by doing something he enjoyed. So that for me inspired me. And then our own local version of it at the time, this is like
mm,
2010, 2011,
mm,
there was a gentleman called Abdul Sekalala.
aha,
He made some Nokia. That time Nokia was the
yeah,
before Android came.
yeah,
Nokia people had the Nokia apps. He made a few small, simple mobile apps for the
yeah,
Nokia ecosystem
yeah,
and sold them in Europe. And we don't know how much he made, but
yeah,
us within the computer science world in
yeah,
Uganda, we had he made like millions of dollars.
yeah,
So that made me say, hey, I should also make apps.
yeah,
But and a lot of my friends also decided to do the same thing.
yeah,
But a lot of them decided, I don't like these things. And now for me, I found I actually enjoyed making apps, and
yeah,
so for me that's what inspired me, to be honest. Like for me, it was seeing someone do it, the of course the white American tech bros,
yeah,
but then seeing, hey, this guy who is here in Uganda has also
hey,
somehow done it.
yeah,
Let me also do it. It means I can also do it. Me, there's nothing special about this guy.
yeah,
He's not from a super rich family or whatever. He's the average guy. Went
yeah,
to this unknown secondary school.
yeah,
He's here. He has made it. So, which means that now me,
I also can,
I can also do it sincerely.
indeed, indeed.
So yeah, I think that was the.
Good stuff. Thank you. And this one, if you could go back in time, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Uh, I think the big one for me would be two things. Have a plan,
Yeah,
even if it's a bad plan, even if it's horrible. Just having a plan is good. Like, and by a plan I mean like, what do I want to do? What do I want to achieve next 5 years, next
yeah,
10 years? Even if because what I wanted that time, when I look back at those, what I wanted, then I laugh at myself. But at least I had something to aspire to.
yeah,
And I wish I had done more of that. I started doing that like when I entered my 30s. But if I did more of that in my late teens, early
yeah,
20s, I would have not wasted a lot of time earlier in my career. I would have maybe saved some money,
yeah,
bought some land, or done something. But I was just party, enjoying life. No real, no budgeting, no investments, nothing
yeah,
like that. It was just vibe after vibe,
yeah,
living hand to mouth, right?
yeah,
I
yeah,
wish I had like I would tell myself like, have a plan. Okay, we've entered a new year. What are three? No, I don't, not many things. Don't do 10 goals this year. No, just like three
yeah,
achievable things. Smart. There's the word smart. Smart
yeah.
goals. Specific, measurable, uh,
Achievable,
achievable, and I forgot what.
realistic, and time bound.
Realistic and time bound. Within this 1 year, what do I want to do? Is it save 5 million
Yeah,
and then put that buy land? Maybe uh, put in some treasury bills or
yeah,
these unit trusts. These new
yeah,
things I didn't know I knew nowadays. But have a plan. I think is very important. And why it's so important, is because if you use that plan and anticipate things that can happen,
yeah,
you are not panicking.
yeah,
So, for example, when I moved here now recently, it's something I started doing now. I call it my black tax fund.
Yeah.
I have like every month I put money aside for black tax or a family
Yeah.
fund,
Yeah.
because by virtue of being a Ugandan and having
Yeah.
family in Uganda, things can happen out of the
Exactly.
blue. I
Yeah.
do not want to be scrambling.
And the
I
phone
know
rings.
I know there are people, and on borrowing, I know there are people
Yeah.
who I am their emergency plan.
Exactly.
I am their backup just by virtue of being here.
Yeah.
I may not be happy about it, but
But
at
that's
the end
the
of the
truth.
day, if it's life and death situation,
Your phone is going to ring.
the phone is going to ring, and I need to be able to step in and
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
So I have like a saving somewhere. Like, okay, if someone reaches out for XYZ, I know where it's coming from. I'm not scrambling. I'm not now coming to Kenneth, man. So and so was in a car accident.
Yeah.
First send me €1,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, have that, anticipate that, because it's going to happen at some point, whether you like it or not. Something
Yeah.
like this happen in Uganda.
Exactly.
Someone's going to fall sick. Someone's going to be in a car accident. Some relative is going to need school fees to
Yeah.
be with. So have some, as opposed to being on a whim and just
Hmm.
people thinking you are stingy, people abusing
Yeah.
you and whatever.
Yeah.
And also don't overdo it, and then people become reliable on you. But
Yeah.
I've gone on a tangent a bit, but
No, this is good. This is good. Keep going. Keep going. I love it.
having a plan and knowing that this, and like, don't be afraid to do something that's new
Yeah.
or different, because like the traditional advice has always been get money,
Yeah.
buy land, build
Yeah.
your castle in the village, build a house in the village. What for what? But you build in the village. You're living abroad, but
Yeah.
build something in the village.
Yeah.
Yes, if I wish someone could have come and told me
Yeah.
that, there's this thing called unit trusts
Yeah.
or these T-bills or whatever. Like, your money is growing
Yeah.
faster than if it was in a savings account, and much faster than it would be in a Dutch savings account, definitely. And you can redeem it. You can anytime you can withdraw. This
Yeah.
called unit trusts in Uganda with
Yeah.
UAP. It's a regulated thing, very safe. I
Yeah.
think they're getting like 10% per year. So like, I wish someone told me that. Then like we did the calculations, and so actually, if I had not built that house
Yeah.
and just put it this way, I would have gotten more value at this after 5 years
And then,
than the house which is dilapidating or getting whatever. Okay, yeah, all the land value is appreciating,
yeah.
but that land, you'll only realize that money if you sell.
Yeah.
The person you are selling to has the money to buy it, because
Yeah.
like if like many people in Uganda, especially in the villages, they sell land when they are falling sick, they need to
Yeah.
get treatment abroad.
Yeah.
It's life and death. You have
Yeah.
property worth 100 million, but because it's life and death, you need surgery in India. The local mugaga that can buy it is asking for is going to give you 75. Will you
If,
refuse?
if you are lucky,
If you are
you
lucky,
give 50.
they know that you are dying. He'll
Yeah.
say, I'll give you 50. You go
Yeah.
now. For you who bought it at 50,
Yeah.
10 years ago, you're selling it again at 50.
Wow.
Because you thought that it's going to appreciate. Like, I mean, take all this with a pinch of salt, obviously.
Yeah.
But I wish I knew those options were there. I wish I knew there were other things than the traditional saving advice we get from our parents,
Yeah.
or what applied for them may not necessarily apply for you. They might
Indeed.
be other ways to save, other ways to, even like my career, I challenged them and went on computer science. For these young people, it could be something like, oh, I make AI chatbots.
Yeah.
There's a new profession called prompt engineer. A
Yeah.
prompt engineer is someone who knows what to ask the AI specifically
To get the best answer.
because you can just write and say, draft a contract between a tenant and landlord. It will give you a generic one. But now, as someone who the prompt engineer We'll draft a contract based on Dutch law, Dutch language, based on article this, and that specifies this, includes this, and then it now brings the perfect thing. So now people getting jobs for that. So imagine you're a young person and your son Kenneth comes to you and says, "Dad, I'm going to be a social media influencer. I'm going to be a AI prompt engineer." And you who knows lawyer, teacher, engineer, doctor,
So what has happened to my child?
you'll be like, "Oh wow, this one is golden case." So it's more. I think ultimately it comes down to I wish I could plan more and look at alternative ways of budgeting, investing, and just general look at alternatives from the norm. Don't take what worked for your father will work for you in this age, day and age. It's going to be very different, but it will also be different for our children. But some things are timeless, like building relationships, being visible. Those are the timeless advice that I think Dale Carnegie wrote that book in 1930. It's still relevant 100 years later.
Indeed. Absolutely amazing. And thank you for sharing that. And I think it really ties into what our next UCN Connects broadcast will be about, financial resilience, because I think it's a topic that is very important for all of us. And that will be on the 21st of June if all factors remain constant. We are trying to still see, but I think it will be this is really good. Thank you so much for sharing from your experience and your life and the things that you've gathered. And what's that one habit or mindset shift that has helped you succeed in your career the most?
Yeah, I touched upon it. I think I've been beating the horse with it. I think
Yes, indeed.
But I grew up with the idea of work hard, know your stuff, get good grades, the world will be fair to you. It's a meritocracy. Everything is on merit. You know your stuff, you will get it. You will make it. But I realized that is just half of the pie. So the mindset shift was realizing that no, the life is not fair. You have to build up these other skills, soft skills as well, because the decision makers are human beings like me and you. They have their biases, and so you have to do everything you can to overcome that bias. Don't blame. Don't be. You can take it as a view it from a defeatist point of view, or feel sorry for yourself. I'm a black Ugandan. No one cares about me. Our government is fake. We are just going to suffer forever. Or you can become like, no, I refuse. I'm going to do everything in my control to overcome those barriers and make it there. And so the big mindset shift was more the learning about interpersonal relationships and building an interest in people,
Indeed.
liking people, and then using that to my advantage to
Absolutely amazing.
navigate the ladder, corporate ladder, and other things.
Good stuff. This was very inspiring, Paul Asiimwe. Thank you so very much for making time out of your busy schedule. But I just want to ask one last question. If somebody's watched this and they would like to contact you, first I want to know, would you be available, for example, to a parent who has a child that they would like to know, okay, my son wants to get information or to get the right guidance on what to do if they want to get into tech? Would you be available to a parent like that for them to make you available to their son to just help guide them?
Yeah.
Yes. How can they contact you?
The best ways, I think the network, our network as well, but also my names, the way you see them here, they are on LinkedIn. I am able. I usually respond on LinkedIn better. I think that's the best way. I always check it out, and it's if it's an online session or whatever, always good to chat. I think when they are young is always the best time. Because you have a lot of room to maneuver and be able to guide someone because of that. So definitely through the network and LinkedIn are the best places.
Indeed. And Ezra says, thanks a lot, Paul
Mm,
and Kenneth. I didn't know about the prompt engineer. I
yeah.
guess I belong there. My question is, how is specialization helping more soul intake and how?
Yeah, specialization is it's a double-edged sword. I will not lie. It's a double-edged sword. You can learn, you can get so deep into something, and then the next morning it's declared there's a new technology that has come out that renders it obsolete, right? On the other hand, if that specialization is so rare but needed in a critical industry, it can you can make a lot of money. So I'll give an example of like people who wrote software in a programming language called COBOL and BASIC. The banks in the US in the 60s and 70s, when they're building their software, when they were entering the digitization, they used software written in those programming languages, and they've never wanted to touch them since because they are so critical to the infrastructure. This is like Citibank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. So the best engineers in COBOL, basic engineers who are in their 70s, 50s, they are still making a killing because they are being called back. Go here, okay, connect this
Update.
system to this system.
We
But
need
then
service.
and because they were the experts, they were the top of the field at that time, so they have stayed there. But now imagine there's a language called PAL, PERL, which came up very quickly, then died in like 2000. Those guys had to adapt and change to something else, right? So I really don't. It's a double-edged sword. Uh, I would say if the specialization you are going for is in an area which is critical, so like those banking guys, banking, finance, those are critical sectors which they somehow got some guarantee. So like defense, health, critical things which will always be there no matter what. I think specialization within those ones will be helpful. But if you now, let's say, you specialize in maybe social media something, uh, and then I now hear kids kids in kids. This is, I think, Gen Alpha, as if they are tired of social media. It's people like me and Kenneth who are still on Facebook.
I'm telling you.
But the kids are now moving on what to TikTok. But even like now, the ones that the 10-year-olds now, as if they're like, I want to stay offline. You can't give me a damn phone. I want. They're trying to see who is the most offline, who is the most off-grid. So maybe 20 years from now, social media will only be for Bazei. So then, if you have specialized in that area, it's like, will it be there? So I think it has its advantages, but just be cautious on which area to specialize, which specialization it is. If it's in a critical industry, I think
And Joseph is saying
yeah,
mainframe systems are still critical in most big banks today.
exactly.
So
Those mainframes they break down from time to time
yeah,
and we suffer, but the guys who are called to fix them, they're the ones who built the same things in the 70s, and no one wants to touch those systems because if it's working, don't break it. So
if it's not broken, don't fix it.
don't break, if it's not
Just
broken,
leave it alone.
leave it alone. And it's been like that for 40 years. So
Yeah,
those specializations really have helped.
absolutely amazing. I mean, Paul, this was absolutely valuable. I know some people were not able to maybe join us in real time, but this is going to remain as a resource for the Career Advancement Network and the Ugandan community in the Netherlands. So from the bottom of my heart, I really want to say thank you for making this the success that it was, and for being available to share from your life and your experience. We acknowledge you and we thank you for doing the work and now coming back to pick us up and take us along. Do you have any final remarks that you would like to share before we wrap this up?
Yeah, well, I didn't prepare any remarks. I thank you so much for hosting me. I am humbled as well, who am I to also be here to say that now this is the humble culture coming in and speaking. So thank you so much, and just everyone out there who is looking at an industry maybe in tech or whatever it is. Anyone can do it. Don't shoot yourself in the foot and think because of one reason or the other you cannot. You definitely can, and you can achieve it and make it.
Absolutely amazing. And with that, I just want to pack it here. Thank you so much to our viewers and listeners. We thank you for the gift of attention that you've given us. The engagement was very much appreciated. And we'll pack it here and wish you a wonderful rest of your evening. And God bless.